There are lots of videos that will tell you how to speak like a leader, but there are not that many that tells you why you should listen like one. It seems quite counterintuitive because listening is just one of those traits that successful leaders acquire. It's a skill. And yet, for us first-time leaders, we tend to believe that we should be speaking more than listening. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you why listening is important. And I'm going to help you take your listening as a first-time leader to another level by sharing with you a very simple technique that successful leaders use, which is called Appreciative Conversations. The actual technique itself is a lot simpler than it sounds. So let's get right down to it. I'm Daniel from First Time Leadership. This video is covering Principle 14, what you appreciate appreciates. Principle 14 is part of the 30 principles of first-time leadership, which is that unique combination of traits to help a first-time leader to be successful in leading others. There's a link in the description below, just click on it. Before I get right down into the technique that is appreciative conversations, I want to share with you two reasons why you should spend more time listening and a lot less time speaking. Reason number one, your decision making and your ability to take the most appropriate action is not based on how much you speak, but it's based on how much you have listened to the inputs of others. Number two, the strength of your relationships with your team or with other people is once again not based on how much you have spoken, but it's based on how much you have listened. So the first step to using appreciative conversations to take your listening to the next level is intention. As first-time leaders, it seems like we should be out there solving the problems for our team. But what that does is that your team isn't learning how to solve their own problems. So your intention in every conversation that you have with a team member when they are coming to you for help is to not so much solve their problem, but to enable them to come up with the solutions that will allow them to solve their own problems. Step two is to seek out the positives. As first-time leaders, when people come to us, we have three options in terms of our responses. Option one is we ask them to solve their own problems, so we are not helping them at all. Option two is we give them the solutions to their problem. But the issue with that is that we are always the giver of the solution. Team isn't empowered to solve their own problem. And then there's option three, which is we engage in a conversation to find out what's going on, offer our insights and perspectives to help our team member to come up with a solution to their own problem. Many of us first-time leaders tend to fall into this trap of going with option two, which is to give the solution to the problem. It seems like what a leader should do. Let's backtrack a bit. Option one is definitely not an option to take because telling your team to go off and resolve their issue doesn't really help them to resolve their issue in the first place. They've come to you with a problem because they can't resolve that problem to start with. And option two, while you are giving the solution to the problem, you are not enabling your team, you're not developing your team. So what you need to do is to really go with option three, which is to provide your insights and perspectives to enable your team member to come up with the solution to their problem. And option three is really the third step to this appreciative conversation technique that I'm sharing with you. Because what it does is that it enhances productivity and relationship. You see, with option three, you have to engage in a conversation with your team member. And that's really important because when you engage in a conversation with your team member, it gives you an opportunity to get to know them. And people are always dynamic. They're always changing. So you need to be engaging in a constant conversation with them to stay on top of what's going on in their lives. So relationship is improved because of option three. Now, option three also gives you the opportunity to enable your team member by offering your insights and your inputs so that your team member can come up with the solution to their own problem. What this does is that it is not only developing your team member and enabling them to resolve their own issue, it's also giving you back time. Because now your team member will no longer need to come to you with the same problem when it occurs. Or when a similar problem occurs again, they can feel empowered and they have a much higher skill capability to solve that problem. If you've gotten value out of this video and you've enjoyed the content, I really appreciate if you hit that like button. It helps me out with the YouTube algorithm so that other people can watch this video as well. And if you're not subscribed to First Time Leadership and you want to get more videos from us, consider subscribing so that you can get videos to help you with your first time leadership journey. So to conclude, to summarize everything here, there are really three things that I want to cover with you. You want to take your listening as a first-time leader to a much higher level by applying this concept called appreciative conversations. And like I said, it's a lot simpler than it sounds. It really just involves three steps. The first step is intention. Your intention in every conversation is to enable your team member to come up with the solution to their problem. The second step is provide the insights and perspectives to your team member when you're having that conversation with them so that they can come up with a solution to their own problem. And the third step, when you're engaging in a conversation with a team member and you're enabling them to solve their own problem by coming up with their own solution, is that they become more productive, the relationship is strengthened, and that you gain back time. So this is pretty much it. A very simple technique called appreciative conversations that will allow you to take your listening to the next level as a first-time leader. My name is Daniel Lee from First Time Leadership. I hope you've gotten value out of this. I'll see you next time.